Welcome back. 10 days of talks in the Geneva II conference and still no end to the war in Syria. The meeting neither resolved nor interrupted the massive siege in the cities of Homs, Daraya and Aleppo, leaving in its wake thousands of deaths. As we hear in this CFR report, human sufferings continue as aid agencies find it tough to access hard-hit areas.
And collective punishment. The Damascus suburb of Daraya, as well as Homs and Aleppo, are still the target of Bashar al-Assad's air raids, and the local communities are still reduced to clearing the debris with bare hands and counting their dead. In addition to dropping rockets and barrels of explosives, the regime is encircling entire neighborhoods in these towns and literally starving their residents for cooperating with the insurgents. This is the case in the camp of Yarmouk, a Palestinian refugee camp where some 18,000 people remain out of the 300,000 Palestinians and Syrians who lived here in 2011. These pictures, aired by social networks, show Syrians who left their apocalyptic setting to try to get their hands on some food supplies. They found out yesterday that the UN Agency for Refugees had succeeded in bringing in food rations for families. A source of hope for these people who have had to eat cats, dogs and donkeys in order to avoid dying of hunger, as was the case for about 100 among them. The brief opening was allowed by the regime, which broadcast pictures of it on state television. According to the commentary that accompanied the pictures, this is relief aid from the Palestinians who worked with the UN and the Syrian government to help the local population, which is a victim of terrorists and foreign powers that support the Salafist jihadists.
More than 50,000 South Sudanese refugees have fled to neighboring Uganda to flee the conflict raging in their country. Despite the ceasefire agreement, many still continue to run for their lives for fear of renewed fighting between rebels and government soldiers. As CFI reports, the UN is worried about the plight of these refugees.
South Sudanese civilians have taken refuge in Uganda. An influx that did not slow down with the ceasefire signed between the rebels and the authorities in Juba.
Most of the population coming are children and mothers. So food is a crucial necessity at the moment, because as you can see, some of them have trekked a long distance. They hardly have anything to eat.
This woman fled the town of Bor, first invaded by the rebels, then retaken by the army. She arrived here with her husband and their 6 children.
I have nothing to feed my children, only this ration they gave me. This is all I have.
Thousands of people were killed, 700,000 chased out of their homes. The situation is very worrisome, according to Valerie Amos, in charge of the United Nations relief operations. She was in South Sudan.
The current crisis comes on top of an already challenging humanitarian situation in the country, where 3.7 million people are now severely food insecure. The violence and abuses we have seen since the 15th of December threaten the future of this young country.
The situation is further destabilized by the fact that the ceasefire is not taking hold. The rebels and the government accuse each other of violating it.
It's now time for our second break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's day 1 of the Qatari Golf Association and Embassy-sponsored golf tournament. Scores of local pros are gunning for the top prize of €500. Abubakar Senghor has been following the day's event, and he now tells us more.
Bigger tournament staged here on this famous course. but the symbolism of this early 2014 tournament is just immense. For it is the first edition of the Qatar Golf Association and the Emiratis Embassy in Banjul bankruling the 3-day tournament, as the players fan out across the course amid the backdrop of furious windy morning conditions. Many thoughts will be on the hefty prize money on offer.
With the Qatari Embassy leading the way, the first prize for the professionals is $27,000, and the second prize is $17,000, and the third prize is I think about $12,000. So that shows the commitment to sports development. And I must also congratulate the President of the Gambia, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Dr. Yaya Jammeh, for taking sports to the next level.
The naming contention for the top prize include veteran JJ and the formidable figure of Yusuf Atama.
In the first 3 holes, I've seen players start off pretty well and then mess it up in the next hole. So it's a bit early to say right now, but I'm sure by end of today, we'll know what the leaderboard looks like.
In amongst the challenging pact, and for many observers of the local game, there is no point looking beyond the name of the man nicknamed Tiger Woods. For Keba Drame will be aiming to fend off the challenges of his rivals. This will be another fascinating contest. Just as the start of day 1 panned out, there were some edgy close calls. Saturday's final round for the pros shall explain exactly who tops the leaderboard. For Grts Sport, this is Babukar Senghor.
We now shift our attention to the weather report, courtesy of the Central Forecast Office.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without season. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton. Just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the weather segment. We experienced a cool and breezy atmosphere during the early hours of the morning, whilst a warm, dry and sunny afternoon across the country. The satellite picture indicates convective activities over parts of Gulf of Guinea states, likewise the central and southern parts of Africa. This will eventually cause rain and thunderstorm over the affected areas. Tonight will be cool and occasionally breezy during the period, whilst tomorrow morning it will be cool, breezy and slightly hazy, becoming less breezy, warm and sunny in the afternoon. Strong northeasterly winds will dominate the flow over the entire country, and the speed will vary between 15 and 25 kilometers per hour. Minimum temperatures will be either 19 or 17 degrees Celsius across the country. Maximum temperatures will be 31 degrees Celsius over the Greater Banjul area, 33 over the West Coast region, 35 over North Bank and Lower River, while Central and Upper River will record 36 degrees Celsius. Low tides will be 0.1 meters at 4:41 a.m. and also at 4:50 p.m. High tides will be 1.8 meters at 11:01 a.m. and 2 meters at 11:23 p.m. Waves